Welcome to Tenacity with Sonia C, the podcast where entrepreneurs, founders, and ambitious professionals come to learn from those who have walked the path, navigating challenges and achieving success. Whether it's thriving in business, pivoting, scaling for growth, fundraising, or finding work-life balance, dealing with loneliness, adversity, or overcoming personal struggles. Our guests share the insights and strategies that have empowered them to level up. I'm your host, Sonia, and let's get started. My guest today is Marco Benitez, founder and CEO of ROOK. From Taekwondo champion to biomedical engineer to high-stakes roles at Roche and Norvitas, Marco's journey has been anything but ordinary. What ties it all together is his relentless discipline, perseverance, and passion for transformation. Today, as the co-founder of ROOK, Marco is on a mission to make health data not just accessible, but truly impactful, bridging the gap between technology and human well-being. His story is one of grit, pivots, and purpose. Hi, Marco. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Doing great, Sonia. Thank you so much for this. I'm super excited to share a little bit more about what we do.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to chat with you, learn from you, hopefully. And let's get into it. You ready? Let's go.
More than ready.
Okay, so you went from Taekwondo champion to a biomedical engineer to CEO. Looking back, what's the thread of discipline or resilience that connects all of these chapters for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. In Taekwondo, as many sports, give you this opportunity to learn about discipline, control, be perseverant and continues, walking. It's I think is one of the most important things that I learned from Taekwondo. I am a national champion in Taekwondo down in Mexico. So for me, it was everything. I started when I was like 5 years, 6 years old, and then until I was, 25, when I take the decision to start working in different environments. So for me, sports was really, really important. That gave me the opportunity for the next step because we create a company before I was working in the big pharma and be a CEO and all these type of things. We create an algorithm for hospitals in down in Mexico with my co-founder. So that was really great experience. I am talking about 2003. We were super young, super young. We were in the college. Was really crazy. But yeah, the transition between all of these things, it's like if you continue walking and doing the same things every single day, eventually you will nail and achieve your goal.
Okay. So you've seen the healthcare industry from the inside at companies like Novartis. What was the aha moment that pushed you to leave corporate life and start building ROOK?
That's I'm remembering that moment. It was huge because I was in the big pharma. I was in Roche on those days. Was really interesting. I had a really good position, winning good money. Everything was good, generally speaking. My wife told me that night that we returned from Switzerland. We were in Mexico, and she told me like, why you are so sad? What's going on with you? Because you normally are more happy and with all this energy. What's going on with you? And I was like, it's because I want to create things from the scratch. I love to do so. I really believe that we can do something bigger. And that path was super complicated. And then I don't know if it was the jet flag or what, but she was, a tear running in his cheek from my wife's cheeks. And she told me like, I just want you to be happy. And that for me was a break heart situation because it was like, my goodness, you're right. But I'm scared because good money in that company, good
Yeah.
position. I was okay. I was okay. And moving towards, a startup world where everything is ups and downs, where there is
Yeah.
not something secure, it's really complicated. And
Yeah.
then I took the decision that night.
So, I mean, based on everything you're saying, I think what I'm hearing is like you had a good job, you were making good money, everything was okay, but you were inside, you didn't feel satisfaction in what you were doing, and you knew that you had a purpose for something different.
End of the day, it's part of the journey. And what I believe is the last day of your life, you should be remembering, not dreaming.
So let's talk about starting Rook. Well, Rook was focused on wearable tech for fitness. What early mistakes or roadblocks did you face that forced you to pivot towards healthcare and insurance?
I think it was the same market. I mean, we have our, at the very beginning, we were more focused in the fitness industry because we saw it as the low hanging fruit. I was in the fitness before as a Taekwondo in guy that really loved sports. That for me was my passion. So that's how we started. But then the same market will tell you who is the market. So from one day to another, we started to receive more needs from the hospitals, healthcare, insurance. They start to go with us and asking for our product with specific things. And we were like, okay, what's going on? We love fitness, but we can see something even more important, health, digital
Yeah, in the
health, let's
space.
say,
Yeah.
in the space. So that's when we started to think about it to move, and that's when we start to incorporate medical devices, lab testing, and other stuff that are very important for the health industry.
How does Rook work and what does it do?
Yeah, it's very simple. We are solving two problems. So these hospitals, these remote patient monitoring programs, these insurance companies, they want to extract the data from the patients so they can track it 24/7, to identify adverse events, to identify or to customize X or Y experience. So the best way to track the patient is through these devices, through wearable devices, through medical devices like CGMs or blood pressures or whatever. So basically, they need to integrate everything. They need to do for the Apple Watch, for the Polar, for the Garmin, from the Sunto, from the Huawei, all of them.
Yeah.
They need developers, they need time to integrate everything, and that's not the core business. And secondly,
Right.
make sense of all this data because every single device will give you the information in a very different way.
Yeah.
Both things are the problems that we are solving. We are an API
Right.
solution. It's a very tech component where we have already more than 300 wearables and medical devices. So now our clients only have to integrate our API, which is just a code, and on their code, and then immediately they will have 300. So instead of doing these integrations one by one and take like 12, 18, 24 months, it only took 1 month and they will have access to everything.
I think APIs are amazing.
Yeah.
But data is powerful, but also messy and can be overwhelming. What was the hardest part about convincing investors, partners, or even customers that health data could be standardized and actionable?
Was difficult.
Of course it was.
At the very beginning, we were during COVID.
Ah,
So that was something that helped us a little bit at the same time give us the opportunity to be in this industry.
mm,
During COVID, some MOH regulatory environments in the health industry started to approve to use these devices as medical devices. Probably you saw that the FDA approved specific biomarkers from Apple Watches and other brands to
yeah.
use as medical devices. So that allows us to be like, this is a really interesting moment. So, and now on, just recently, also the U.S. Health Secretary mentioned that every American should be wearing a wearable, and then the European community also opened the space to talk and bring more this data in the hospitals and all these type of things in the medical charts. But at the very beginning was a little bit difficult because there was no AI or something or any tool that can help you to understand a little bit more. And now that AI is in everything, infrastructure is one of the most important things. And I can see all these new VCs and investors only doing investments on the infrastructure or in AI tools or in data. Now everyone is telling you that data is the new oil. Of course, it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, a lot of people know that, definitely, but not everyone. So talking about these API solutions to investors was super complicated. It take a
Yeah.
lot of time to, to narrowing in the correct way the technology that we have.
What do you see in the future of healthcare now that all of these wearables are becoming available? Do you think that it's going to put health in the consumer's control, or is the data there to help the healthcare system?
I think both.
Okay.
First of all, wearables give you awareness, and that's super important.
Yeah.
It's like I give you the opportunity to understand your behaviors. Everyone, or not everyone, but a lot of people have access to these devices. Some of them are really cheap, but I know it depends. But at the end of the day, you are receiving all this data. Now you can do something. It's like every single time that I drink alcohol in the night, I know at least one glass of wine. I know that my heart rate is going to be awful. I'm going to
Okay.
sleep horrible. These type of insights are super interesting. Or if
Yeah.
you, I don't know, your dinner very late, or there is a lot of situations, or you are very stressed depending on ABC.
Yeah.
You can see all this information now in these devices. So they are tracking you 24/7. It's impressive. So in the future, I can see more people using wearables, and then the wearables are going to be even more accurate.
I've actually stopped wearing my Apple Watch, and
Yeah.
simply because there was studies that came out, and now there's like everybody's like, well, is it safe for me? Is it not safe? Do I really trust it? Do I really want to have that stuck to me? I'm already exposed to my phone all day long and all these devices, and now having this on my skin, which is the biggest organ in my body, what is that really doing?
Devices are very low, very low. It's only if you have a magnetic
Yes, I know what you're talking
MRI,
about.
the
Yeah.
MRI. If you have this type of ways when you are using these big, medical devices, that definitely will harm you. But
Yeah.
we are talking about it's very low.
Remember back in the 50s and the 40s when we started mass manufacturing food, we didn't realize that years later that mass manufacturing processes was going to end up putting causing cancer in the foods that we were eating, right? So do we have enough long-term exposure to these devices to actually know that?
I can argue that. I mean, transgenics, fruits and everything.
Yeah.
It's a cost and effect thing, because at the end of the day, we have too many mouths to feed, too many foods, too many mouths to
Yeah.
feed, that we need to accelerate the process of the food. The problem is not the food. The problem is how much do you are eating about specific things. Everything is around the amount of things. If you are eating this cheap food, or you are eating that, of course, if you are eating that every single day, of course, will have any repercussion in your.
Repercussions,
Thank
yes.
you so much.
But isn't it the responsibility of the company, like us as
It is.
entrepreneurs, isn't it our responsibility to make sure that, the exposure is as low as possible?
It's like everything. It depends. If we go with the labeling of the food and everything, every single year, every single week, every
Yeah.
single month, we know something else from the specific food. It's like in drugs, it's like in big pharma. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. We have so many studies in the big pharma industry doing a lot of clinical trials, very expensive clinical trials, trying to identify all the people. That's where AI could be something.
Okay. Yeah.
I agree with you. We don't have all the information, but we have some information that gives us that opportunity to understand if
Yeah.
eventually will something happen. Because cancer, for example, it's too many things at the same time. It's super difficult to say, hey, it's because the food of your what you are eating. It's that it's not a cause and effect thing. It's too many things. It's the sun, it's the gadget, it's the food, it's the you are not running, you are not walking, you are not doing exercise, you sleep really bad, you are very stressed, too many things in one place. I agree 100% with you. It's our responsibility to share this type of information to the end user, and then
Yeah.
he can take the decision. That's
Yeah.
where AI, I think it's amazing that now
Yeah.
now you can use this information for your
Yeah.
life.
So, building an API that connects to diverse wearables sounds like a huge technical and business challenge. What was the most underestimated hurdle you and your team had to overcome?
It take like 18 months just to integrate a couple of wearables for some of them, not for everyone.
Okay.
If they want to extract the 100% of the information of the wearable, because maybe some of them only want steps, and that's perfectly
Mm,
fine. That's not that complicated. But when you are trying to use CGMs and you want all the information in real time, or you are, on top of that, you can add as much information as you can. And that's when things are very complicated. And then when you have to normalize and standardize with all the wearables or medical devices that are outside, that's when everything, it's literally a chaos. So, yeah, I mean, it's complicated. That's exactly the core business. That's our bread and butter. And
hmm
also how we clean all this information for our clients, and that's why they are looking for this type of solutions. So it's
Yeah.
challenging. It's challenging all the time with
Yeah.
the franchise.
So, since we're talking about challenges, one of my themes in this podcast is I don't want to talk just about success because every entrepreneur talks about success. Oh, look at me, look what I did. I want to talk about some failures and some what I like to call fuck ups, which we all have. But can you pick like one failure or one mistake that you made in that journey of starting your business and tell me what did you learn from it or how did it change you as a founder?
It's really tough, that question, because it's like every single day you are like trying to navigate through all these problems. Everyone will be challenging you, like investors. For example, when we
Hmm.
were doing our fundraising the first time, I took like probably 400 calls,
Wow.
meetings, and I'm not taking in account all the emails that I was, doing back and forth. So that was really tough, really, really tough. And receive so many no's. It's complicated
Oh,
because there is one moment where you are thinking that your idea is not good, you know,
yeah.
and that's where you have to start saying, God, please help me. Let me know if I'm in that really good position. So, and in that
Yeah.
moment, for some reason, something happened at the end of the tunnel, and one investor came and they were like, I will invest 1 million, and we were, what? And then that unlocked everything, and another investor
Yeah.
came with another million, and the other one with another million, and we were, okay, what's going on? But
Yeah.
but this stuff, you have to be on the game all the time until you make it.
What made you like stay on course and not give up?
My personality,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I'm very resilient. No, I'm not sure if resilient, but I'm like once I have something in my mind, I'm not going to stop until I make it.
I want to go back to something that you said earlier in our conversation. So you you were in fitness. You started this company based on it was going to be in the fitness space. And then you said you started getting feedback around, oh, this should be in the healthcare space. What was that pivot like, going from your original idea to pivoting to something new? Were you hesitant to it, or were you like, okay, let's do it? And what was that process like for you?
Let me give you, maybe will be interesting to do one step back because that transition between fitness and health was not so difficult, but we made a pivot previously. At the very
Okay.
beginning, we were in the fitness industry with a hardware. So we have before at the very beginning a wearable
Okay.
because we love hardware, and then we changed everything from hardware just to be a software.
Mm,
That was a huge change, and also the
yeah, that's
market
massive.
that was massive, and that happened during pandemics. We
Yeah.
changed everything, so we create a new company, but everything was through this device because we started to learn about the information that we were receiving, and we were like, okay, that's crazy because we started to see this when someone has COVID, we start to see these changes in
Mm-hmm.
their heart rate. So we were like, what if we start to integrate more wearables?
Mm,
We are going to receive more information. Let's see what
yeah.
happened. So we started to integrate the Apple Watch. And then we start to receive more information on our app. And then we said, okay, first of all, integrate Apple Watch took a lot of time, but it doesn't matter. But then we integrate Polar and took a lot of time and was like, okay, we have already, and we start to receive more data. And we were like,
Mm,
okay, this is interesting. And we started to integrate more and more and more, but took a lot of time. And then one day, insurance company, a C-level guy, I was with him in a dinner, and he told me like, "What do you do?" And we were like, "Okay, we have this hardware and this platform, and this platform we have all these wearables, all this data." And he was like, "That's exactly what we want to build, because we were trying to integrate wearables, took a lot of time, and it's super difficult. Is there any way I can integrate your platform in my platform?" Because
mm.
I want to track the end users. And I was, as a very good entrepreneur, I said, of course, it's easy.
Yeah, okay.
Please, I will, for tomorrow, yesterday, it's already
Sure.
done. It's already done.
Anything is doable.
With money and time, yes.
Yeah.
And then that was really crazy. And then we make the change of the business model. We came with Techstars, this accelerator program. It was
Yeah, I
like
know
a
Techstars.
no-brainer.
Yeah.
It was like a no-brainer with the managing director. He told us, man, this is really cool what you have with all this data. And we changed the business model because of the market, because of COVID, if
Well,
you want to see it
there
like
was a
that.
demand, right? There was a demand for it, and you kind of
Yeah.
went with it. So you've spoken about giving people the same opportunity your coaches gave you, a chance at a greater life. How does that personal mission influence the way you lead your company today?
All the time. All the time. I mean, for me, my parents are my coaches. My dad, my mom, of course, my
Mm,
coaches in life in terms of my friends, my team when I was in Taekwondo. Because also my co-founders, my own team in my company, they are my coaches too. It's like you need all the time, information and trying to make it. You want to make it better for you and for
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
So that's why I'm always saying that my coaches really give me this opportunity. But when I'm talking about coaches, I'm talking about everyone who is around me,
Yeah. So you're
because
always
that helps me.
learning.
Always you are learning all the time.
Well, we're coming up on time, but before we wrap up, I want to ask you one last question. What's one piece of advice you'd give to a founder who's standing at the edge of a big pivot and isn't really sure if they should take the leap, or they're scared, or sometimes they're just frozen? What would be your advice to them?
Continue walking. It's I mean, it sounds easy.
It's scary.
It's scary, and you will have so many questions, so many doubts about moving forward. And it's easier just to stay in one place and be in your bed. It's much better
Yeah.
in terms of your stress and everything. It's easier just to stay here, make the movement, or take one step forward. It's so hard. It's so hard. But if you really believe in what you are building and the problems that you are solving, definitely this is something that you have to make it.
Well, Marco, thank you so much. This was such a lovely conversation. I so appreciate you being open to sharing your journey and everything that you've done, your pivots, your business. I'm always so appreciative that founders are willing to come on and share their knowledge to the next generation, or people going through the same things that you've already gone through. So hopefully someone will get something out of this, and I so appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. A really, really lovely conversation. And yeah, I'm here to help.
I want to thank Marco for joining me today and sharing such an honest look at his journey, from the discipline of martial arts to the challenges of building a tech company that redefines healthcare. What stood out to me is how he turned resilience into a guiding force, not just in business, but in life. It's a powerful reminder that tenacity isn't about avoiding obstacles, it's about moving through them with purpose. Marco, thank you for inspiring us to see health data and discipline as the foundation of a greater life. And that's a wrap. To our listeners, thank you for joining me on this journey of learning, growth, and inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform and connect with our community on social media. I'd love to hear your feedback, so leave a review and let me know what topics you'd want to explore in future episodes. Remember, the future belongs to those who embrace challenges, adapt with tenacity, and keep pushing forward. Keep growing, keep pivoting, and most importantly, stay tenacious in your pursuits. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to bringing you more insightful conversations in our upcoming episodes. This is Sonia signing off, but as always, keep chasing your dreams with tenacity.